So a few weeks back, I posted on Instagram about my fave old white partscaster here. And I talked about these pickups and how I've had them for 20 years and I love them. And I keep discovering new things I love about them. And they're kind of like Strat pickups for people who don't really like the traditional sound of a Strat. And I had so many messages from y'all about this. I want to say like maybe in the hundreds from people saying, what are these pickups? Please tell me about them. Please, 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 please. So I'm going to tell you about them and give you a little insight into how I stumbled upon these and what I love about them, what might not work for you with them, but what really does it for me with these. So stick around. So 20 years ago, I was playing and touring in a band, and I could not get this thing to fit in and mix at all. It was getting killed by the other instruments I would play. I would instantly, whenever I went to this guitar, it would just like drop. And I'd gone through a bunch of different stuff. I was living in Richmond, Virginia at the time, and I had a bunch of people recommend I go see Lindy Fralin. And I was anxious at first because most of the people I knew who played Fralins and espoused his work were more like blues players using vintage Strat voicings and things like that. It didn't seem like what I initially wanted, and it actually seemed more like what I was trying to get away from. But the guy had such an incredible reputation, and people swore by him. And plus, he's just a local gift in Richmond, Virginia. I had to go see him and his team. So I go see him, bring my guitar, bring a fuzz pedal, got a chance to meet with him. They set aside some time for he and I to talk. And first off, he is the most superb gentleman. It was just fantastic to work with him, to get his insights, his time, his care. And I think if you have the opportunity to work with people who really care about this stuff and really know their stuff and care about people as well, you should do it. I think it was just a great experience chatting with him. He heard me play. I started playing with what I had at the time, and we were in a room. He grabs 3 Strats down, and the first one was loaded with Lindy Fralin Steel Pole 42s. And I plugged it in, and it felt like that guitar was just beating up my guitar in comparison. I played 2 other sets of his. They were great, but I was instantly in love with 42s. It was pretty much done at that point. So, pros and cons of these. This is ceramic magnet with inductance around 3.3, 3.4 here, and almost 5 here. And it just has a lot more definition and heft. It may have a little bit less air. It has more what I would call like finger cymbal highs or silver dollar highs or steel vault bank door highs, and not like crispy, airy highs. But you'll hear the notch positions are a little bit different. The individual positions are a little different, but I really love them and how dynamic and responsive they are. One thing that leaped out at me about these instantly from stage and from the sessions was that they were way more defined and punchy with overdrive and medium to higher gain sounds than a typical single coil. One thing I was running into with traditional Alnico signal coils is that they would get a little bit pillowy when you hit them with high gain, which is kind of fun with like a fuzz or something where it seems a little bit scooped, but the low strings, the wound strings, would get really soft and kind of mushy. Whereas with this, with the ceramic magnet and the output and the power of these, they punch, like they will knock you down. And that's something I think is really cool with this. Wound these for me with a 5% overwind on 42 gauge wire, and I think it really works because these are advertised as kind of a P90 and a Strat pickup size, but it's really almost more like halfway between a P90 and a loud telly pickup. The tone is sort of comparable to some of the loud broadcaster style pickups, or like the Lawler special telly pickups that I have. But this is somewhere between that and a P90, and it just has a lot of beef and fit in instantly through a mix where all of a sudden this thing wasn't losing me spots in the mix compared to like my guitars with P90s or guitars with louder pickups. The notch positions are a bit different with this than with a traditional Alnico. The Alnico notch thing is magical, does that Knopfler thing. This is a little bit different, but still cool and interesting, especially when you're using some gain. So, I've had something like, including the Bardens that we put in for that other video, this guitar now has housed 7 different sets of pickups. And these are the ones that stuck the longest. I was excited to put these back in there, and they've been in here for otherwise consistently for 20 years. And I just really like how dynamic and forceful they are, how responsive they are. I think there's something really beautiful about what happens when you strum more lightly with this thing and it gets quieter but still clear and powerful, and then you dig in and stuff just opens up with them. And I feel like that beautiful relationship where you feel a direct relationship between how much force you apply to the instrument, how much voltage it creates through the rest of your signal chain is just a fantastic thing where you're not even thinking about your playing anymore. You're just playing, and the harder you play or the softer you play, the thing just responds. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you like what you heard and saw, stick around. Like, subscribe, get on our mailing list. There's more fun to be had. We'll be doing more of these, so stay tuned. Have a good one.